Is Sherman getting a bad rap?
He is getting a bad rap. He's not perfect. He's not flawless. We get all of that. But he's getting a bad rap, and I'm going to tell you why. Max Kellerman, a couple of years ago when that happened, and the Patriots beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl because of what I consider to be the dumbest call in Super Bowl history, when Pete Carroll and Darrell Bevell called a pass at the 1-yard line with 26 seconds left. I still consider it the dumbest play in Super Bowl history. It made no sense. Why? Because of the way Beast Mode was balling. He caught a pass down the left sideline that got them within field goal range. Not that they needed a field goal, they needed a touchdown. Then after that, you had the miraculous catch. Then after that, you had Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode, run 4.5 yards down to the half-yard line. They could not stop this man. All everybody knew you had to do was give Marshawn Lynch the football. And instead, they called Russell Wilson's number. And I reported on several occasions thereafter, because there are several people that I talked to in that Seahawks locker room. It might not be Michael Bennett these days, but it's certainly others that I have spoken to. And one of the things that resonated with them, it wasn't just that they lost the Super Bowl in such catastrophic fashion. It's that they felt and really, really was salty about the notion that Pete Carroll and those boys wanted Russell Wilson to be the hero instead of Beast Mode, their boy, Marshawn Lynch. That's what they had a problem with. They felt like there was no business for that play to be called, and it was an incredible disservice to them that you would take that kind of risk with 26 seconds left, with a Super Bowl championship on the line, just because you wanted to coddle and cater to your guy, which is Russell Wilson. These are the kind of things that have been raking through this franchise for the last several years. It's not like Russell Wilson is disliked or not respected for his talents or anything like that. That's not the problem. The problem is he seems to be ultra protected when it comes to Pete Carroll, who I'm fond of and I like, but obviously doesn't always make the right decisions in my mind. That's what this emanates from. And the frustration from that can't go away in the mind of a lot of these guys, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, the Legion of Boom, because their mentality is that it's supposed to be about all of us. It ain't supposed to be about favorites. And Russell Wilson was considered a favorite. And Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode, was one of the Legion of Boom's favorites, if not their favorite. It had a lot to do, from what I'm told, with why Marshawn Lynch ultimately retired. He didn't want to be in Seattle anymore. And it has a lot to do with the fragmentation that appears to exist with the Seattle Seahawks at this particular moment in time. That loss still stings because they don't believe they lost it. They believe their coach took it away from them because he wanted Russell Wilson to be the hero.
I think that's excellent reporting. That's really good information, and it adds up with what subsequently happened, right? It's illuminating for that reason, so that's good. But I would, if to answer the question directly about whether or not Sherman gets a bad rap, I would say no. I think the rap on Sherman is what everyone knows. Stanford, the whole brainy brand, right? Everyone knows he's smart. Everyone knows where he comes from to get to where he is. Everyone knows he's an elite defensive player in the NFL. Everyone knows he's demonstrative. And when he gets emotional, he's not always going to hold it back. Everyone knows he's straight up and down. He's going to tell you what he thinks. You know, like, everyone knows these things about Richard Sherman. And the fact that he's being shopped partly because maybe he doesn't want to be there and wants to play with Marshawn Lynch somewhere maybe, and as has been reported, means that it's not even the Seahawks necessarily throwing up their hands and saying, oh, okay, you have a problem with the coach, bye. They're not even saying that. It's like, okay, well, maybe this isn't a great fit anymore. If you don't want to be here, let's see what happens. And Richard Sherman, by his own admission, is like, look, where am I going to wind up going? If some bad team's going to give up a mortgage part of their future for me, that doesn't make a lot of sense to him. So I wouldn't say it's a bad rap. I think people know what they're getting with Richard Sherman. Would I want him on my team? Every day. Like, please, Jerry Reese, go get Richard Sherman. That's never a bad thing because he's a champion. He is super competitive, which is why he gets the way he does on the sidelines at times. And he's still an elite player. So I think whether or not people want Richard Sherman on their team or think he's good or bad depends on where you come down on the issue of a guy letting you know where he stands, either being a distraction or being actually a good, healthy part of a vibrant team, or both. And then how do you weigh that? I think the rap on him, I think everyone knows what we're dealing with here.
Listen, here's the deal. I want to make sure that I'm clear. I don't know for a fact. I wasn't a fly on the wall. I only know what players inside that locker room told me. Sure. Some of them could be, people could be lying or whatever. I don't know. I do know what I have been told. And I was told this, years ago, weeks after it happened, months after it happened. It was reiterated again and again over the last several years, to the point where I've been on this show on national television, and I said that this will never be the same. Yes, they're going to be a respectable team. Yes, their defense is elite. Richard Sherman has established himself as one of the elite corners in the game. So for them to be talking about getting rid of him, of course he's getting a bad rap, because what you're indicating is that one of the best corners in the game is somebody that you need to do without, because he's such a distraction to the rest of the team, to the cohesiveness and chemistry of the team. He doesn't need to be here. That's not taken into account what role they played. And that's the problem with this, where I think Richard Sherman is getting a bad rap. If you're Pete Carroll and those boys, you know why you called that dumb play. You can't blame that on him.
That's not but what you reported earlier, a couple minutes ago, what you said you've heard from people in that locker room jibes with is consistent and makes sense in terms of how it lines up with a lot of the recent reporting about Richard Sherman and the Seattle Seahawks. And I don't think it's necessarily that, he's such a distraction, he now becomes a negative force. It's that, we do have to put up with some stuff, and apparently he may not want to be here. So, it's not just like the Seahawks are saying we don't like you. They're also trying to accommodate him in that case.
He doesn't mind leaving, and he doesn't mind being accommodated, because they've given him the impression that they don't want him here.